wonder, will you make this?
Feeling good, got some weed up in my wood, chasing street just like I should, letting go because I could. Used to have...
That is fucking lit.
There we go.
I just
There
want to
we
say
go.
that it was
There we
hard.
go.
All
That
There we
worked
go.
nice. Yeah, that worked nice.
All right, cool. Yeah, welcome back to another episode of JK Philly. Today we got New York Sports Exchange on. How you guys doing?
Doing well. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having us on.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, so like I stated, not going to be too long, but what we usually do to start is just get from you guys and just like giving an intro to your channel for the fans back home so they know who you guys are and what you guys been doing.
I guess I'll start. Well, I'm Stan. I am one of the hosts of the New York Sports Exchange podcast. We started this 22, probably like January, February of 2022. March was when we were kind of like started like to actually like take it seriously. It all started really just like, you want to do this? And did I think that we would be doing 177 episodes of it since? Absolutely not. The fact that we've been staying all motivated throughout this is a miracle within itself. But yeah, we've done some pretty good things. You know, I had to do a stand-up routine as a punishment one time. Brought out
at football, dude. Stop eating.
Yeah, I gotta be better at picking football. Yes, that's true. It's been a great experience, and now this is like our first time like someone's asked us to come on. So we really appreciate you guys for allowing us to come on.
For sure. Let's just jump right into it. I think with the questions that we have, I don't think there's any real way that we can dive into any other one other than starting with Tibbs. Obviously, there's the news that he obviously got fired, released of his duties. I really just want to know from a New York fan of like how you guys really felt about Tibbs with his stint there.
Yeah, well, shocking, yes, but had to happen. I felt that after Game 6, I basically felt that Tibbs should be fired, but they're not going to because they've only been successful with him, and it's the first time they went to the conference finals in 20-something years. So it really was like, okay, like that's success. That's a successful year for the Knicks, and they kept on going. I was really surprised that they fired him. I was very happy that they fired him. Although I will say, though, Tom Thibodeau, like I'm very grateful towards him, helped the Knicks, become relevant again, really. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was sort of a shocking moment, but from the consensus that I've gotten, it was sort of the right call to make.
Yeah, I think it really had to be time. I think his 8-man rotation that he was running in the playoffs, it clearly isn't going to work against a lot of these other teams, Pacers especially. I mean, he got out coached completely by David Carlisle. Mm-hmm. I think this is kind of the end of the road. Rick, sorry, but it seemed like this was the end of the road for him. I mean, they couldn't do it last year, they couldn't do it this year with a better roster and healthy. So I think it was pretty much time to move on.
I would have to agree. I think Tibbs is starting to enter that area of like he's a good coach to turn you around and make you into a playoff team, but he might lack that next level of coaching that takes that step. Because like you said, he went up against a championship winning coach in Rick Carlisle, and you saw the difference in the coaching on that. If you're a Knicks fan, you got to be grateful for what he's did, but everybody's got their ceiling, and it looks like he probably hit his.
Yeah. He's been always known as like a floor raiser and not necessarily a ceiling raiser. And when you think about it, and I'm not going to include his first year where we went to the playoffs and lost to Atlanta, but the last 3 times we went to the playoffs, we've lost to teams that on paper are not better than us. And I know that the Heat had Jimmy Butler and he was one of the best players in the world at the time, but let's all be honest, the Knicks were favored to win that series. Then the same thing with Indiana. I know injuries was a big thing because, OG had the hamstring. Josh Hart was playing hurt. Randall was out with the shoulder injury. And then Brunson ended up breaking his hand in Game 7. And you could give him the benefit of the doubt there. But I feel like for this one, it's like you have home court advantage. You improved. You finally got the monkey off your back where, you haven't made a conference finals in 25 years. And now here's your chance. About to go to the finals, light the city on fire, and then you immediately go down 0-2. It was deflating. Such a deflating feeling, and I don't ever want to experience that ever again.
For sure. Yeah, it was definitely interesting to see, like you stated a little bit earlier, that 8-man rotation. And I coach, high school basketball, so obviously it's not similar, but I can understand if like I'm playing my best 8 guys and they got to get the job done. Like if I ever need to use them, which I'm probably not going to, yes, I'll put them in, but it just looked like stubbornness of just like, I'm not using those guys. We got this far without them. Like we can just do it. That's just kind of what it looked to me a little bit. But my next question that I really have, it's kind of a long-winded one, but I want to know specifically like how you guys feel about now that Tibbs is gone, previously with the offense of Jalen Brunson, how that really relates, how like when Cat came in, and then a little bit of time as we talk about it, it feels like it's kind of like your turn, my turn. Jalen Brunson is usually going to take over the game, but at points, Cat's going to come in and he's going to do his thing. Did you guys like that offense, and do you think it's going to happen with, whatever new coach comes in, just to see like the blueprint? Or how do you think that's really going to play out?
Yeah, I think there's definitely got to be some more synergy going into next year. We saw it, especially in the Pacers series. I mean, when they were both on the floor together, and they were minus 22. You had one on, they were plus. Obviously they were better off and on together. You saw it happen in Cleveland this year. I mean, with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, they kind of got that synergy together with new head coach. I think if you could bring someone in like that who could space the floor a little bit better and just get more touches, especially a guy like Mikal Bridges, the offense would flourish just a lot more. And they wouldn't have that same problem they had in the Pacers series, where they had guys come off the bench and they just started taking over and they lost control a little bit with the pace. I think if you get a bit more of a flow to the game, because the ISO ball doesn't work. I mean, with Jalen Brunson, we saw it again too. It just doesn't work when you try to go one on five and he tries to take over. It didn't work out in that series. I don't think that's the key to a championship. So definitely with a new head coach, the blueprint's got to be space the floor more, get guys more touches, get them more involved early, and get a new bench. They need a bench. I mean,
I was just gonna piggyback off your point there, Tim. I feel like now with whoever they may hire, whoever they're going to hire is going to trust their bench. I don't think that there's any other NBA coach out there that has an 8-man rotation anywhere.
It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. Mm-hmm. So now I think if you're giving Brunson and Cat like more rest, because I didn't necessarily think, having Brunson and Cat on the floor at the same time was an issue until the Indiana series. I think if you're really just giving them the rest and really having faith in the bench, then when it comes to crunch time, when it comes to the fourth quarter, then Brunson and Cat are going to be ready to go. And who knows what we could see? Hopefully something good, but maybe they could be playing to their full potential.
Yeah, and to what you were saying, you love isolation scores in the playoffs, but you don't necessarily love the game plan being this guy has to isolation score the entire time. You love a dude down the stretch in the clutch. It's like, okay, give Jalen Brunson the ball, let him go to work and get a bucket. But if you're relying, you're trying to score 110 points off Jalen Brunson Cat,
it's not going to work.
Playing ISO hero ball. You need more ball movement for all the other possessions. It's great when you need that bucket and someone can come through, but you can't just, damn, Brunson, that was a great step back three. You think you could do that again? And then maybe, and then maybe do it again. Like, then it starts to fall apart a bit.
Yeah, for sure. I kind of want to, segue that into my last question I really have, kind of just an overview. I want to ask about your key takeaways within your playoff series. We can talk about the Pistons. I really want to talk about the Celtics as well, and then we'll obviously divulge a little bit into the Pacers. But just give me your key takeaways, I guess, from each series, if you can.
Well, the Detroit series was more or so about experience rather than, because the Pistons, and I'll be honest, with how weak the Eastern Conference was, I just don't think that the Pistons will be in a spot like that again. And don't get me wrong, I love Cade Cunningham. I love the year that he's had. But I just don't see it, especially now with Philly, shout out you, with them getting a top 3 pick and McCain coming back, and there's no Olympics, so Embiid's not going to be playing this summer, and there's plenty of other teams that could make a leap as well, like Orlando, who like Banchero is really making that leap. Franz Wagner could make that leap next year. I just think that, and we saw it in Game 1 of the Pistons series where the Knicks, they did not let the Pistons score, and there, what was it, like a 20-0 run
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It happened so long ago. I've like completely forgotten like the whole statistics of it.
Yeah.
But they didn't let Detroit score for the majority of that fourth quarter, and that's what got in that game 1 win. And I feel like that's just what that really set the tone for the series. And I know that they lost game 2 after that, but they were able to win 2 games on the road, and they were able to, rely on the heroics of Jalen Brunson for that series. So there's that, Tim, if you want to
Yeah,
touch
I mean,
on the Boston
it
series.
was go to Boston. Defensively, they were just great at closing out shots and making them take difficult shots. I think that was kind of the takeaway from that. Boston we know they live and die by the 3. Losing Tatum was huge, but they made Jaylen Brown's life hell. I mean, they made pretty much everyone's life hell. And I think we kind of expected that going into the Pacers series. We're like, all right, I mean, they could stop anyone. And we ran into this fast-paced offense, and it was kind of like, all right, we need to slow things down. We need a little bit of a different scheme. I think the Pacers series kind of presented a lot of glaring holes for them to take that next step. Again, I'm going to keep bringing it up, but the 8-man rotation has to go away. I mean, it can't be a thing. And the bench depth, again, the bench depth was really a problem with the 8-man. You didn't have anyone really coming off. I mean, who was getting minutes in that series? I mean, they had guys that barely even played the whole year.
Shamit and Wright.
Right. I mean, you can't. Landry Shamit's not going to win you a playoff series. It's just not going to happen. So
it chanted his name at the Garden, though. Like, think about that.
Great. Yeah. Right. Chanted a lot of guys' names at the Garden.
Yeah,
that's true. I did say though, I'm old.
Step over. Yeah, they were chanting his
I'm old. I'm old enough to remember Brandon Jennings getting his name chanted during a preseason game.
Wow.
It's been a long road for the Knicks. Yeah, but I think it presented a lot of issues. And then I don't even know where to go from there, Stan. But yeah, I think it really opened up the eyes a little bit, and they made adjustments to they brought in the superstar and Cat, so it comes to a point of who you point the finger at. Tibbs is the odd man out. They make the next step now. I think next year's going to be, I'm hoping, especially for us, to just be a lot more energetic, a lot more synergy, better ball movement, and a lot more depth. 10-man rotation the whole year.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, when looking for positives, like, it's hard to look at positives when your team just comes off of a series loss. But looking at positives, especially in that Celtics series, it seems like with the Tatum injury, there's like this thing around the series now where like the Celtics were just going to run away with the series and win it. I don't know what series other people were watching. And we know how dangerous the Celtics can be when those 3 start hitting. But it's not like they were blowing the Knicks out of the water every game in that series, and then Tatum went down and the complete opposite happened, and like the series just turned on its head. The Knicks were in all those games, were handling the Celtics very well, who, people thought were just going to walk to a championship this year before people saw how good the Thunder were. And maybe it is just, fresh coach, couple more guys in off the bench, couple better bench players, less minutes on the star players' legs, and, I could see you guys right back in the Eastern Conference Finals next year.
Yeah, especially with how weak the Eastern Conference is. I mean, next year it's anyone's game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's nice when you only got to be better than like 3 teams in the entire conference.
That's true. That's pretty true. I mean, yeah, and you never know if Philly could make a run. Like, I'm not like, you never know. I feel like who do you guys want at 3 though?
I would probably take Ace.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to get Ace. I think we talked about it a little bit beforehand of, if we had the possibility of drafting Dylan Harper, then, maybe. But I was a little hesitant when we talked about it because of like, we got to see what, Jared McCain can give us and how that runs with Maxey and stuff like that. Ace Bailey he's going to fit in because, we still need forwards at the end of the day. And hopefully Paul George's contract ends very quickly and we can get rid of him.
You guys, oh my God.
But, that's a spot that he can fill in, right? So that's the way that I look at it.
Would you guys like Edgecombe?
Yeah, I like Edgecombe.
Yeah. I love him.
But I don't want. My big thing, I see a lot of Sixers fans. They want like to draft a guy that would fit in and be the last piece to this championship team.
Yeah.
I feel like when you're picking at number 3 overall, we got to be realistic about Embiid. He probably doesn't have a ton of years left. I don't know if Paul George has anything left in the tank. I don't want them to waste the 3rd pick on a guy they think is going to be a role player on this team for the next year or 2 and miss out on a guy. Like, maybe you draft Ace Bailey. I know there's a lot of negative things around him. Maybe he becomes a superstar, and then instead of having to go in a full rebuild when Embiid's knee finally explodes, maybe you've sped up the process a little bit by having a young, like, very, very good player on the team.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. That's how I've looked at it.
Yeah, there's so many reports, and it bothers me that we see on like Sixers Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that of just like the Sixers are considering trading away the pick, and it's like what for what? Why are we doing that? I just don't see any reason for us to do that, because it's not like we're gonna get a Giannis. It's not like we're gonna get KD. We're not gonna get anything that's gonna be of value for right now. And the biggest question mark is Embiid. So we just still need to see what happens. Like, we just have to do it this way, and we can't trade it away. So
we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I will say though, like, I am like a top tier, and Tim can attest to this. I am a top tier hater of the city of Philadelphia. They've given me some of the worst I was at the D-Jacks game as a kid.
He talks about this all the time.
No, that's how it starts. Like, that's just how it started. But I seriously think though that, like, you guys draft, like, let's say you get VJ Edgecombe, and McCain's people. I don't think people really realize that Jared McCain was going to win Rookie of the Year until he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
He absolutely was going to win Rookie of the Year. You add that with Maxey, and then, I mean, I know Paul George hasn't been great, but if you get at least like 50% of what he once was, I'll give him half.
Yeah.
It's shaking your head in disgust.
No. I mean, we saw what it was. I mean, I said this on another podcast of just, because of the way the season played out with Embiid being hurt, not doing back-to-backs, that whole thing, I feel like it kind of just went over to Paul George of like, hey, we just got you for 200 and whatever million. You got to be that guy for us right now. I think that's what was in his head. So he's just like, man, I don't care about hyperextending my knee. I'm going to go back out there and play 3 weeks later with no brace on. And it's just like, you get hurt again. It's like, oh shit. Now we just got Maxey who's chucking 50 shots a game, and we're not winning games. So I don't know how it's going to play out. Embiid's always our biggest question mark, and until that whole thing settles, I'll never really be able to know what our future looks like. But yeah, that's a different conversation for another day. But like I said, just wanted to keep it short with y'all. I definitely appreciate the conversation. When it's outside of Sixers, Knicks, Celtics, blah, 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 I still like the Knicks as a whole, because I think I would hate the Knicks a lot more if they didn't have, like, the Villanova guys. If it was just, like, regular guys I didn't know about, I would probably give less of a shit about the Knicks, but I definitely pay attention to them.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, but, yeah, like I was saying, I definitely appreciate you guys for coming on. Right now, if you guys have anything that you got coming up, any episodes or any things that you guys are doing, I would love for you guys to, share it to the fans.
We do have an episode coming out tomorrow morning, so check it out.
Awesome.
Talking everything. NBA Finals. We go more in depth to Tibbs getting fired. A lot to look forward to.
Yeah,
lots to look forward
recap
to.
all New York sports.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Thank you guys for having us on.
For sure.
Really appreciate it, guys.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely appreciate you guys coming on. Make sure that you guys click all the links down below, and we'll see you guys for the next episode. Talk to you. Thank you guys for watching another episode of JK Philly. Make sure you stay tuned by subscribing to the channel.